Am I the jerk for declining to celebrate Christmas with my boyfriend's family and not inviting him to my family's celebration? Original post for context. I, Penny, 19, am from the United States and currently a second-year university student in the UK. My boyfriend, Alex, 23, is British, recently finished his master's, and is now working. We've been dating for 10 months, and he's my first boyfriend. He's been nothing but understanding, kind, and supportive throughout our relationship. I've met his parents and siblings twice, and both times were wonderful. His mom even told him she thinks I'm the one. In late November, he asked if I'd like to spend Christmas with his family. He said everyone would love to have me there, and I thought it was sweet, but I declined. I've been feeling homesick and wanted to spend Christmas, a holiday that means a lot to me, with my family in South Dakota. When I told him, he seemed aloof for a few days. I went to his flat later to reassure him that I'd love to visit his family another time, but for me, Christmas is a family holiday. I now realize how dismissive that would have sounded. He looked hurt and asked, "Do you still love me? Aren't I your family?" I reassured him that I do love him, and things seemed fine after that. About a week later, he surprised me by showing me a flight he'd booked to South Dakota for Christmas. Flights to South Dakota are expensive, especially internationally, and while the gesture was touching, I thought it was impulsive and unwise. I told him it wasn't a good idea. For the first time, he got really upset, accusing me of not caring about him, not being serious about us, and thinking only of myself, all of which are untrue. I love him and value our relationship deeply. Knowing he was speaking out of hurt, I asked him to take a walk to cool off. When he returned, I explained that he meant everything to me, but I wasn't ready for him to meet my family. To be honest, I'm nervous about how my family would react. I'm white, he's Arab, and my family in rural South Dakota is not exposed to diversity. They've made ignorant, racist comments in the past. While they'd likely be polite to his face, I fear they might say something offensive or jokingly inappropriate. They also assume Arab equals Muslim, even though he's Christian. This ignorance embarrasses me, and I don't want to put him in a situation where he might be hurt. I didn't tell him any of this, though. Instead, I said I felt it was too soon to bring someone home, as, in my family, that's often a precursor to engagement, which is true. He asked if he wasn't good enough, and I reassured him that he's perfect. He then mentioned that the tickets were non-refundable. I started crying, apologizing for wasting his money and saying how much I wanted him there, just not right now. He asked me to leave and said he needed space. I flew back home nearly a week ago, and since then, we've only had brief phone conversations. He still texts me, "I love you," and "good night," but he's clearly distant and hurt. I don't know if there's anything I can do to fix this or reassure him. AI verdict. Editor's note. Penny received mixed reactions of YTA and NTA. YTA was based on the details where Penny was not clearing up regarding racism issues from her family and their background. NTA was for what Penny did, as her relationship isn't even a year yet. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. YTA. Your family is pretty racist, and you might as well tell him that now. Their reaction is going to be the same if you brought him there now or 5 years from now. Your intent is selfish in nature. You're not protecting him. You're protecting yourself from the criticism you're going to get. He's hurt now. Wait till he meets your parents and realizes you kept such a massive thing a secret. Penny, my immediate family, mom, dad, and sister, are very open and totally fine with me dating him. It's my extended family, grandma, aunts, uncles, and cousins I am extremely worried about. Commenter 2. No one is an imbecile, but you've both made big errors. Buying a non-refundable international flight without telling you is very unwise, like you said, but you're not being a good partner by hiding the truth about your family from him. You're 19, so I'm not going to say YTA, but this is an unwise move. He deserves to know your true motivations. I'm sure he would understand if you just explained it kindly. Nearly everyone has experiences with ignorant family. Did you even tell your family about where he's from, though? Penny, my entire family knows his race. My immediate family, parents and sister, are in full support, and it doesn't bother them at all. My extended family, grandma, aunts, uncles, and cousins have already made racist remarks about him. Most of them they tried to pass off as jokes. Commenter 3. Do you push back against that? Have you made it clear to them that this is serious and they need to cut it out? Unless you're planning to go low contact with your family and live in the UK full time, this isn't going to end while trying to just push the meeting off into the future. Penny, My boyfriend and I want to live together in the UK once I graduate. My family doesn't know this yet, and I think this would be another reason to get mad at him. They were already livid about me going to another country for uni. As for their racism, I have told them I didn't appreciate it, but most of the comments I have heard through my sister after they happened. Commenter 4. Bold of him to book non-refundable plane tickets without talking to you. Pretty huge red flag. TBH. You've been together 10 months. He needs to chill out. This seems controlling and clingy. When you get back, you need to be honest with him that you weren't sure your family would behave, and also that you felt him buying tickets was presumptive and moving too fast. You're 19. You don't need to rush things, and he needs to respect your boundaries. Penny, thank you so much. This was really helpful. Update 1. My boyfriend, Alex, 23, and I, Penny, 19, have been dating for 10 months now. He's from the UK, where I study at university, and I am currently back in the USA for winter break. I made a horrible mistake about how I handled his invitation to Christmas and refusing to let him come to mine. In another Reddit post of mine yesterday, I decided to call him and try to fix things, since what I did was so wrong. I explained my family's issues with racism. He's Jordanian, and I'm white, and how I was wanting to protect him and trying to handle my family's problems before he gets introduced. I acknowledged that I should have told him and handled it poorly, but would be honest with him from now on. I also told him that I had a conversation with my family about my relationship and told them any racist behavior from their end would be completely unacceptable. Initially, he was understanding of my situation. He said my family didn't change the way he felt or viewed me. He was glad I was honest, and he apologized for his reactions earlier. After a while, he said that after what happened, we should lay some ground rules for each person in our relationship. I thought it was going to be things like honesty, trust, consideration, etc. Instead, he literally gave me things I must do in order for this relationship to be successful. Firstly, he told me I couldn't make decisions about things without him first. He basically said that relationships require sacrifice and compromise, and with big things such as Christmas vacation, etc., I would need him to be okay with me doing these things. He said it was childish of me to be in the habit of doing whatever I want. Secondly, he told me I should distance myself from my family. I actually understand his reasoning here, considering how some of them are racist and not great people. I told him it was complicated because I still love them despite this, which might make me just as bad, not sure. I could still see where he was coming from, so I told him that if they ever made a racist comment about anyone in front of me, I would try to educate, and if that didn't work, I would distance myself. He then said I was playing middleman and that was unfair to him. He said in a few years when we get married, I would have to make the choice. He finally told me he wants my location at all times and wants me to go low contact with my male friends, most of which are gay anyways. I told him a lot of these rules seemed over the top, and in the most patronizing tone he said, "You've never been in a relationship before, and I'm older than you, so you should listen." The moment he said that, I thought it didn't sound like him at all. Most of the time he is the most easygoing and relaxed person, so I couldn't believe it. I told him I didn't appreciate being talked to like a child, and if he wanted to be someone's father then he should look for another person. He said that while he still forgave me for what I did earlier, my behavior was a testament to how immature I am. He then said we would continue this conversation another time and hung up before we could even say goodbye. I feel like I partially caused this shift in his behavior by inadvertently making him insecure because of my refusal to let him come. Before this, he was honestly the last person I would ever consider getting insecure. He is very good looking, has a good career, and has always been confident, so I would never think he would act this way. It breaks my heart to know that I caused his actions and want to know how I can convince him to let go of the rules so things can go back to the way they were, or am I the jerk for declining to follow the rules, and should I just follow them? Edit. I've been in this relationship for 10 months and really do love him. I told my friends the things he said, and they've reiterated the points made here, but I guess it's hard for me to wrap my head around how he could go from such a good guy to this. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet, but please be mindful that it's a lot more difficult for me to look at this objectively. Second edit. I appreciate everyone's comments and support. I have read every single comment and have thought about my relationship all afternoon. I cried when I realized I must end things. I will be texting him tomorrow morning and breaking up. Relevant comments. What is Alex's boyfriend's religion and his family's background in the UK? Penny. He's not Muslim, but Christian, and his family has lived in the UK for 3 generations. Commenter 1. Penny, I'm going to be brutally honest here. even if I get downvoted to hell. Keep in mind I've read your first post. 1. He comes from a misogynistic culture, even if he's not Muslim, and it's showing. A. He got angry because you chose your birth family for Christmas even though you guys haven't been together not even for 1 year. B. He inserted himself in your holidays with those tickets he bought. That was controlling and intrusive, not caring. Hey now, just because you didn't really told him why you didn't want him there to not hurt him, he's taking that as a green flag to call you immature and assume an even more controlling stance. 2. He's already used manipulation. Don't you love me? There's plenty of suffering in your future if you remain with this guy. This has only just begun. Leave him and spare yourself of regret later. The choice is yours. Penny, thank you. I have really absorbed everything you said and what others have said, and I'm going to break things off. I am not sure if I should until I am back, so it's in person, or if I should just do it over the phone. It feels mean to just break up over the phone, and since our relationship is long-term, shouldn't I just do it when I get back? Does Penny live with her BF? And what do her friends think of the relationship altogether? Penny, we don't live with each other. Sometimes I stay over at his flat, but I live in my uni accommodation. My friends in the UK really like him. We've been to the pub together as a huge group, and it's always been a lot of fun. He's very kind and funny, so they've never had issues with him. My friends in the US didn't mind him until this entire thing happened, since they never met him in person. I would send photos of us and screenshots of our texts, and they all would say how in love we looked before this. He was legitimately perfect. I met him in my university's cafe, where he bought me coffee and chatted with me up. He was so charismatic and made me feel so special, always remembering little details and giving me random surprise gifts. He seriously has never been this uptight before. The only thing he did was express concern over a few of my male friends, but I assured him they were gay or they didn't have feelings for me, and he let it go. Commenter 2. Penny, this is classic controlling behavior. He is trying to isolate you from your family. I haven't read your other post yet, but it looks like they are inadvertently giving him the right tools to do so from your friends and basically everything that would provide you a place of refuge and shelter if you ever have to leave him. This whole, I am older so you must listen, would not fly even if he was 10 years older, but he is 23. That is 4 years older than you. He still is an immature child, maybe not legally, but certainly from the way he acts. What are the rules for him? What are the sacrifices he makes? Right now, all I can see is him trying to basically make all decisions for you and make him totally dependent on you while he gives up nothing. And TA, and when you go back to the UK, politely tell him to get the hell off. Commenter 3. Penny, you didn't cause him to be like this. It was already there, and he latched onto the first mistake you made to show his true colors. He's using your guilt to manipulate you and control you and make it your fault. This was always what was going to happen. Nothing you did or didn't do was going to prevent it. You're 19. You just got done being a child who had to listen to their parents. This is the time for you to make your own decisions, be independent, and yet do what you want within reason obvious. Don't stay in this relationship. It's not going to end well for you if he's already this controlling after 10 months. Update 2. Hey everyone, I wanted to update on my previous 2 posts. I received great advice from a lot of people, and it immensely helped me try to evaluate our relationship. I texted my friends about the situation, and they also agreed he sounded overbearing. About an hour ago, I ended things for good. I texted him yesterday afternoon that I thought we should have a serious discussion about our relationship. He said we should wait until we have both cooled off from our conversations earlier, so I suggested tomorrow. He sent me his usual, good night, and I love you texts, which kind of broke me. His horrible behavior didn't erase 10 months of love that I feel for him, and it almost felt like betraying him saying the same things back when I knew what I was going to do in the morning. Here's kind of a summarized version of the call. It was over an hour, so I condensed it as much as I could, and I tried to write it as quickly as the call ended so I wouldn't forget. Anyways, when I called him, he seemed very normal and calm. We talked for 10 minutes, just about how things were going and stuff. Then I basically told him that I didn't want to do this, but I thought it would be best if we broke up. I said that we probably expected different things from our partners, and I couldn't do what he wanted for me. After I said that, he sat in silence for like a minute. I thought the call had dropped, but then he said he was processing what I said. He asked me if this was revenge for what he said 2 days ago, and I said no. Just a realization of incompatibility. He then said he wasn't going to change his mind on his boundaries, and me giving him an ultimatum was manipulative. I told him that this wasn't an ultimatum. He then kept repeating my name and then told me I didn't mean it. He asked me if I loved him still, and I said yes. And then he said he knows I'll come back. I said this was it. He said something about how we need each other and went on a rant, but I don't remember that much of it because I was crying at that point. I cut him off at the end and just said goodbye. He said he would never forgive me and I would never see him again since he was that awful, and then hung up. I immediately blocked his number, WhatsApp, Snapchat, and Insta. I do not think he will have another way of contacting me. I do not think he will seek me out or anything, so I'm not too worried about that. My university accommodation also has front desk security, and you can't get in without a key card. Thanks again, everyone. Edit. His mom just texted me saying she was sad things ended the way they did, but she wishes me all the best. Minor update. One of his friends tried adding me on Snapchat for some reason. Don't know if it's him using his friend's account. His friend wants to know what happened, or a coincidence he added me right when this unfolded. Relevant comments. Commenter 1, NTA. You did the right thing. When you get back, make sure to inform campus accommodations that this person is not allowed to contact you or visit you or anything. He also might try to see you in the buildings where you have your lectures if those are accessible, or places where you shop or like to eat. For the next few weeks, see if you can mostly socialize in groups and with friends. Avoid being alone. Penny. Thank you. Most of the buildings require an ID to get into. Commenter 2, NTA. Please be careful when you return to the UK. Get help to watch your back. He is not done, and he does not accept this is over. He sees you as the dumb, immature, inexperienced girl he can mold and control the way he wants. No way will he give this up easily without fighting. Penny, thanks for your advice. I have talked to a lot of my friends in the UK, and I am going to stay close to them for a while when I get back. Commenter 3, NTA. Setting boundaries and then actually enforcing them is an important life skill. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.